Frickin' bears. Got away though. This is Defunct Games news. Coming up this week. Microsoft had its Xbox Next Gen reveal event. We recap Ubisoft's Forward 2020 event. And coming up later, the publisher of Gamer Girl pulls its own preview trailer. Right, so let me get this straight. My first week back, after being attacked by bears in the forest, and not only did none of you bring me anything back, not so much as a stick of rock from your ill-earned holiday, but I have to cover 2 reveal events. Is that about right? Well, out of the honeypot into the jam jar, I suppose. Let's take a look at our first story this week. Microsoft had their Xbox Next Gen reveal event, and boy, what a doozy of a reveal event it was, as reveal events go, I guess. There were headline grabbers, indie games, and of course the foregone conclusions, but enough about Forza and Halo. Well, actually, first up, coming holiday 2020, Halo Infinite featured gameplay for the first time, and I'm happy to report it seems little has changed in terms of its focus on simple, yet satisfying first-person shooting. However, the trailer is getting heat from some fans for having the audacity of not having uber-realistic graphics, when the franchise never did, frankly. Also for the brute Thanos ripoff that seems to be goading the Chief as the villain of the game. But no matter what your opinion on the presentation, we will soon continue to finish the fight yet again. And come on, who isn't happy to see the big lad back in action for the first time since the last console launch? No news on a release date, but State of Decay 3 had a release trailer, and one could say it was a little eerie, given it was a zombie deer eating a dead wolf. While unnerving, it at least explains why there's no Bambi trilogy. But sadly, this is just a reveal trailer, no gameplay footage as of yet. Then we move on to Forza Motorsport, which ditches the number 8 in its title for some reason, looking sexy as always, but no word on any new or additional features from the previous installments, given the game is still in early development. But it's likely to have cars, tracks, loud engine noises, and I doubt that there's going to be a Royale mode just yet. We also had a look at a series of interesting looking new titles, such as Everwild, a game that explores the relationship between magic and nature. Don't look at me, I have no idea what that relationship's supposed to be either. A game called As Dusk Falls, which features a unique take on using the GTA intro title slides to tell stories. And another game called Tell Me Why, a game that follows a brother and sister duo uncovering mysteries concerning their past and visions they experience through emotional trauma. Games that will no doubt tempt players looking for something a little bit more niche. And then it was Obsidian's turn to bring the pain with a series of rather interesting announcements, to say the least. We had an expansion to the Outer Worlds called The Peril on Gordon, which is only ever good news given the quality of that game. Grounded, which is a bit like if Honey, I Shrunk the Kids got a next-gen treatment for a survival game. And a tasty little treat called Avowed, a game that looks set to rival The Elder Scrolls as a spiritual successor to Skyrim in its first-person dual-wielding magic and sword presentation, a basis in a mythical world, and signing off by asking, is an oath worth the weight of a crown, which some have taken to be a direct shot across the bow. Wow. First Obsidian outdo Bethesda with Outer Worlds versus Fallout 76, and then Obsidian want to go and hit Bethesda right where it hurts. Right in the Elder Scrolls. Ooh. Obsidian really haven't forgiven them for Fallout New Vegas yet, have they? Penned for release in 2021, Psychonauts 2 was announced, with Jack Black providing the vocals, featuring some properly psychedelic gameplay indeed, and having released the synopsis, Raz realizes his dream and visits Psychonauts' headquarters. However, when he gets there, he finds it's not the perfect place he expected, and quickly realizes that the Psychonauts need him more than he needs them. Looks funky as hell though, wouldn't you agree? Rattling through a few of the announcements as we wrap up here, we have an expansion for Destiny 2 called Beyond Light, a sequel to Stalker, Stalker 2, Warhammer 40k Darktide, The Gunk, horror thriller game The Medium, which looks both scary and interesting with its parallel presentation, new Genesis Phantasy Star Online 2, and Crossfire. But to cap it all off, we had the reveal trailer of Fable. Now again, it's a teaser, but with a new development team behind the project and the promise of going back to a more fairy tale based world featuring the balance of nature and magic, Didn't we cover that game earlier? And keeping the off-key dark humour of the first games, we have some things to be optimistic about given the fresh start the series seems to be going for, as opposed to a continuation of the original stories of Albion. I, for one, remain cautiously optimistic about this game, however. I've been burnt by Fable before. First game was amazing and one I hold up as a great example of a RPG game with all the greatness of British humour amalgamated with all the uber powerness of an American style RPG, but nevertheless, let's just hold our optimism on this one just for just a little while longer, shall we? All in all, I thought it was a pretty good reveal event. Certainly not the worst reveal event I'm covering this week. A series of interesting games, a series of blockbusters, but the two that really stand out to me is properly nerdgasmic, Fable and Avowed, just because of the fact that they've got fresh perspectives and good studios behind them, and well, I want a Skyrim sequel and I want a decent Fable. Shall we? Can I just say first off that it's weird that two of its biggest franchises are going to be kicking off in England's past and present, and in both, the English are really f***ed. And if this accent offends you, then you know exactly how I feel when you see that every English person in Watch Dogs, and to an extent Valhalla, is speaking like pip pip cheerio tea sipping, about to break into a rendition of Chitty Chitty f***ing Bang Bang sung by the Sex Pistols. There are layers to our culture, layers. But Anglo-French tensions out of the way, let's take a look at the big news that came out of the reveal by first of all summing them up in 5 words or less. Watch Dogs Legion, pip pip fricking stereotypes. Hyperscape, Matrix Royale with bouncy balls. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, suplexing giant wolves. And Far Cry 6, red trailer, blue balls of gameplay. See, a whole week away. I'm still sharp as ever, even after spending a week scavenging for food and evading Paddington Bear and his bloodthirsty band of bears. Taking a deeper dive, Watch Dogs Legion, which is scheduled for release on the 29th of October 2020, kicked off with a weird as hell trailer that neither looked detailed nor original, but appears to be selling the idea of a truly tailored single-player experience by selling the different characters that can be recruited seemingly randomly in the world. And of course the methods that they would have at their disposal to complete missions, from a construction worker to a little old lady tasing fools. While it's certainly interesting the idea of being able to recruit random people from the world into your band of merry misfits of hacking geniuses and kung fu masters, I do just have one question. How did London ever get taken over by a military tyrannical government when all these were just wandering around with nothing to do? Released on the 12th of July 2020, Hyperscape looks set to take Fortnite's Royale concept, add in a dash of Titanfall's wall-running gadgets and first-person combat, and wholesale nicking Ready Player One's world and premise, and wrapping it in a neat little Matrix bow. It looks set to be based in a digital world, with Royale combat being the focal point, which in of itself is such an original concept I might faint from the originality of it all. Legally acceptable copyright infringement aside, this does look like it could be an interesting title. If no other reason than the combat looks fluid and exciting, the aesthetic, while borrowed, certainly appeals to me, and the fact that the world looks more expansive and detailed than other games in the genre, hey, maybe it's worth a look. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is due for release on the 17th of November 2020, boasted multiple mechanics, including pillaging, invasion boards, customizable dual-wielding weaponry, pillaging, full map exploration, and of course, more pillaging. It looks set to employ more combat mechanics designed to counter specific enemy types and finishes, rather than a free-flowing combat system like in other franchises. But hey, if it ain't broke, why fix it, I suppose. To be honest, I don't understand where the Assassin's Creed name comes into any of this, by the way. There are no assassins that I can see, and it's Vikings pillaging and raiding everything. And there's a couple of things where there's cloaks on people's heads when they're wandering around, and that's stealth. Call me cynical, but nevertheless, I'm all in on this game so long as it's not just more climbing tall buildings for no reason. And finally, we had Far Cry 6, with a release date set of the 18th of February 2021. Unfortunately, it looks pretty by the numbers for a Far Cry game. Dictator fella thinks he's right about the world being generally shit, and him being the only one able to fix it, dresses with more flair than the Pope at a rave. Young, impressionable lad caught up in the midst of the chaos and forced to choose sides. Albeit the trailer is set in a city, which would be a refreshing change of pace from the usual locations of island and or countryside. I enjoy the Far Cry series, completed 3 and 4 reasonably easily enough, but I want a fresh change for the series, just something a little bit different. I mean, is it too much to ask for a full-fledged version of, I don't know, something like Blood Dragon or something along those lines? Just something, go crazy, go mental. We can't talk Ubisoft without mentioning the controversy. Ubisoft, before the event even commenced, had faced allegations of misconduct, both sexual and otherwise, being leveled against the developer, which, for obvious reasons, it did not address, instead focusing on the games and promising another event in September to reveal even more about the games it showcased, and potentially more about other games too. But it will take more than a reveal event or two for people to forget the report compiled by Bloomberg that does indeed cast worrying accusations at the company. As far as the games go, I thought the games looked reasonably decent. Ubisoft have a reputation of making very stable, dependable, if predictable games. But nevertheless, I'd still like to see them take a chance or two with their games. Just something that isn't an open world with endless busy work to do. But leave us your thoughts in the comment section below. What would you like to see Ubisoft work on apart from a statement concerning the allegations? And finally, we come to the few little things that we almost missed this week, because apparently 2 reveal events wasn't enough for the bosses at Defunct Games. So let's take a look, shall we? First of all, like Obsidian getting bored with Bethesda making another Elder Scrolls game, Team Reptile's Bomb Rush Cyberfunk seems to be the signal that they're sick and tired of waiting for Sega to get off their asses and make a new Jet Set Radio game. It's only a 15-second trailer, but has all the cosmetic elements, skating mechanics, and a wild soundtrack from the original games, and looks set to pick up where the GG's left off. Jet Set's original composer, Hideki Naganuma, is even on board to help crank out them bangers with sexy voices and outside sounds. Set for release next year on PC, it looks cool, but if you need your fix in the meantime, Neon Trail is as good a place to start for that momentum-heavy, colourful skating experience that Tony Hawk and Skate deny you. I, for one, am a massive fan of the Jet Set games. The original in 2000 and the second one, Jet Set Radio Future, in 2002, my personal favourite. And if they can bring back those 2000s motifs with funky graffiti, great dancing music, and of course that all too familiar skating mechanic with people dancing on the spot for no discernible reason, I'm on board. But wait, hold on to your asses, people. We have a site exclusive. We have actual Dr. Disrespect news. A development that means that for the first time in maybe a month, we have something new to report concerning the saga that actually sheds light on the situation as it stands. Oh wait, no, he's announced he might take legal action against Twitch after his ban, since they still haven't told him why he's been banned, according to him. In what seems to be the most mysterious misuse of time from the gaming press since, well, time began, the fact that this story continues to rumble on without end, comment from either party, or Dr. Disrespect just plain denying any wrongdoing to begin with, is truly baffling to us here at Defunct Games. Sorry to get your hopes up like that. You can call me Dr. Disappointment if it makes you feel better. Developers of Gamer Girl, a horror full-motion video game about a content creator with a new moderator that she hires, has had its trailer pulled due to an adverse fan reaction. Publisher Wales Interactive said in a series of tweets that the game seeks to raise awareness towards online abuse. However, the gaming public didn't get that impression from the trailer. The game, which is coming to PC, Switch, PS4 and Xbox One in September, lets you play as a popular streamer's chat moderator, and a personal contact with the game being developed by FMV Future, The Bunker. The player is tasked with handling a chat log, maintaining personal contact with the streamer known as AbbyCake99 or Alexandra Burton. You'll make decisions about the posts in her chat, respond to DMs from her, and work to help Abby succeed, with the fun little caveats that she can fire you if you mess up, and there's a darker element to the game being the abuse that she must endure. Not a lot to say more on this one, you can judge the trailer for yourselves, but the fact that it's only available through third-party providers at the moment is an odd change of pace for a developer trying to publish its own game. And frankly, if this is the reaction to the trailer, is pressing on with the release of the full game necessarily a wise move? And finally this week, it seems that Lewis Tan, who stars in the upcoming Mortal Kombat movie set for release in 2021, is claiming that seeing some of the fatalities the movie is offering up made him physically sick. Quote, "Let me just say this. There were some days on set that I felt sick. I'm not kidding," Tan said. They did not ... they did not hold back. Which is odd given what writer Greg Russo had to say when he mentioned that the Mortal Kombat movie will feature fatalities from the game franchise as opposed to invented ones, stating, "We're not going to come up with some new things that we haven't seen before." He reckons the fatalities in the movie made him sick, but the fatalities in the games with their ultra 4K, super high definition computer graphics and free reign to go literally anywhere they want, didn't. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't played a Mortal Kombat fighting game since they took on DC for the title of mediocrity in video games. In any event, any improvement over the 1995 and 1997 movies would be muchly appreciated. Could we just all agree on that? I mean, some acting for a start, and some computer graphics that don't look like they were generated by a desktop calculator. Well, that's been the happenings of the week. My name's been Lorne Wisely, host of Defunct Games News. I'm off now to go and protect my honey and make my door as bear-proof as possible. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned for more content on Defunct Games, where Cyril will have some reviews and some other videos for you in the coming days and weeks. Be sure to go and check out the Defunct Games Discord, and from all of us here at Defunct Games News, thank you very much for watching.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Defunct Games News. If you liked what you saw here, then you should know that Lorne will be back next Sunday with even more news. Now here's the question I have for you. What do you want to see from the next generation Xbox? Are there franchises you're looking forward to, or maybe new features? Or, I don't know, for Microsoft to not give up halfway through the generation like last time? Yeah, let me see your thoughts in the comments below. In other news, we have a packed week full of reviews, as well as a conversation about how the recent news has impacted reviewing games. If that sounds interesting to you, then I strongly recommend you click that subscribe button and support what we're doing here. Until then,